Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Express Lane, the show that brings you speedruns in 60 minutes or less. I'm your host, Asuka424, with occasional guest appearances by my corgi ho-hosts who are sleeping so adorably just off camera, Galahad and Freya. Also, quick side note, can we get a trans rights in chat? Because happy Trans Day of Visibility, everyone! To celebrate looking at our absolute banger schedule, we have got 3 super cool Metroidvanias that y'all are going to absolutely love. So look at here, we are going to end tonight with Superland. In the middle, we have Blue Fire. And right now, y'all saw this awesome runner at Back to Black 2026. Well, it did such an amazing job. We're going to have him back. It is K-Drive running Bloodstained Ritual of the Night with a built-in STS randomizer. Hello, friend, and tell me, what exactly is a built-in STS randomizer?
Yeah, hey Asuka, thanks so much. Yeah, what's up, everybody? As Asuka mentioned, I'm K-Drive. I'm here tonight running Bloodstained Ritual of the Night's built-in STS rando. STS means same type shuffle, but same type shuffle might not have clarified that any, so we'll go over what that means over the course of the run. But just know that having a built-in randomizer in a modern Metroidvania is definitely a rarity. The settings that we're using here are specific in a way that actually allows for lots of runs to be completable. However, even with these settings, unfortunately, there's still a number of runs that can't be completed, so we're going to be running on a pre-vetted seed today, and hopefully it'll be a good showcase for you guys. I'm not going to be doing this run alone. I've got the wonderful Miriam, who's standing here, nice and ready. So I'll give a countdown from 5, and we'll launch Miriam to the seed. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. And before we hold right for just the beginning of the seed, I'm going to get on some DLC gear that will help us get through the beginning faster. And we got our first key item check here, Warhorse's Key. Okay, not the best thing, but on we go. So this is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night's built-in STS rando. Basically, all it is a means of randomizing the game with every single point of randomization being shuffled amongst its same category. So, for example, accessories get shuffled amongst each other. Shards of the same color type get shuffled amongst each other. Equipment chests gets shuffled amongst each other. Even key items get shuffled amongst each other. And something that we'll be looking for as quickly as possible, in fact, 2 things, are the 2 components to go mode, which are Dimension Shift and Zangetsu. Dimension Shift is a purple shard, which can drop from any enemy that would normally drop a purple shard in the game, because in this STS randomizer, it shuffled amongst any enemy that can drop a purple shard. And Zangetsu will be able to find that from a key item chest. And here we got our first purple shard check that drops with 100% success rate, and it's 8-bit fireball. So not the greatest purple shard, but hopefully we do manage to find what we're looking for over the course of the seed. So just to give an idea for those of you unfamiliar with just Bloodstained Ritual of the Night in general, this is Igarashi, the legendary Koji Igarashi's latest work. He's the same man behind games like Castlevania Symphony of the Night and Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, which is another game I also speedrun. This game has a lot of inspirations from the latter games I mentioned, but this game also kind of takes the RPG mechanics to the next level, even beyond the scope that some of the previous works that he did were able to take it. So hopefully you guys will have a chance to see the RPG strength and the mechanics show in full force over the course of the seed. I'm going to take a safety save here because sometimes this game does act a little weird and we don't want anything bad to happen.
Obligatory rando does rando things.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll notice pretty much over the course of this 2 minutes that we've played the seed so far, I've been backwards hopping. This is the trademark Igarashi fast horizontal movement, which, he can't help it but to make the horizontal movement be through moving backwards. So in this game, the backdash canceling is performed by doing a backdash, canceling in a crouch, and performing that ad nauseum. It's actually a lot easier to do than some of the previous works, such as in Soten, you do it with shield dashing, and in Aria, you do it with backdash sliding and canceling that into a short hop and turning around at the same time. I'd much prefer just the backwards hopping, personally.
Real talk, I like watching anybody that plays a Metroidvania, any of them. I don't know how your hands survive. I'm so impressed every time I see this.
Yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of getting used to, and Aria of Sorrow is still a game that I've kind of broken my hands over with the movement, but this game is a lot more relaxing somehow, so we'll take it. We're going to take a quick safety save before the first boss, known as Vepar. This boss drops a red shard. Red shards are not vital to the run, but sometimes can be useful. And if we manage to find one of the accessories in the game that completely breaks combat apart, basically that will make every single shard we find potentially useful. So even something as a measly red shard can be useful when we find Jeebel's glasses. And I'll talk about Jeebel's glasses more in a second. But the idea for this boss, you just hit it over and over. Hitting the head does slightly more damage. We've got Tep Sorenda as the shard drop, which is not terrible, but it's not going to be as useful for the late game bosses, which is really what we're hoping for something when we're looking for any red shard. We're looking for something that's going to help us with the end game bosses. Unfortunately, Tep Sorenda kind of falls off for that. So yeah, now we're in the village, the hub town of sorts. We got the side quest NPC here, and we've got the crafting NPC. He has a key item check, so it's very important to make sure to speak to him. Plunder's Ring is craftable. I actually think I'm going to get that. Let me just make sure there's no crazy weapon that I prefer. So the crafting shop, the recipes are technically not randomized, but the result you get from the recipe is what is randomized. And usually they try to balance it out for STS in terms of the categories that the resulting items from the recipes belong to, so that, you know, you don't get completely destroyed by not having things that you might need in a seed. And then here's the normal shop. We're just going to sell all of our shards right now. We don't need any of them. And then we're going to see mainly if we have waystones. Excellent, we do. So waystones are consumable fast travel that will take us straight to the hub town from anywhere. And then we purchased as well a potato seed, which can be used for crafting some healing if we manage to find some other components later on.
Now, I saw something in chat that I'm very curious about. They gave you some good luck on the seed, but they also said, here's hoping no car painter seed.
Car painter? Ooh, I'm not even aware of that myself. I imagine that's something undesirable though, so we'll hope for that not to happen as well.
Fair.
Thank you for the good luck though. Yeah, so we're gonna do a side quest farm here for opening up the rest of the accessory checks that are available. And it turns out this side quest farm also doubles as helping us out with one of the first purple shard farms. So it's important to get that taken care of. And now that's completed, we can check the rest of these. Okay.
Someone clarified carpenter seed.
Oh, carpenter. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
The first message was literally car painter, and my brain did not brain for a second.
I got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Carpenter seeds are dreadful. Hopefully we don't get one. That's basically a seed or situation. Oh, summon insect. Nice. That's a situation where the purple shard that we might look for, in this case Dimension Shift, might be behind Carpenter's Key, which is a key that unlocks a backer room where there's basically an elite enemy encounter that is basically like a boss. And it's a boss that can respawn if you leave the room, but it's as annoying as it might sound because you have to farm that boss for its purple shard still. And it means you have to basically do like a boss fight over and over. Yeah, hopefully we don't get a seed like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got some early chest checks as well performed. Some of the chests that we opened were things such as blue chest. Blue chests have randomized contents, but the randomized contents pull from a certain pool. And I believe the pool is based on the area that you open the blue chest in. In the vanilla game, the pool would be consistent, but in the randomizer, I think the pool is shuffled, and then the contents are based on the pool that you get from that shuffle. So we also opened an accessory check, which didn't have Jeebel's glasses, and we opened a weapon chest, which the best thing you can find from a weapon chest is Valkyrie Sword, which is way better than the weapon we have right now. In fact, it's better than a lot of the weapons that you can find in seeds in general. But the thing with Valkyrie Sword is that by itself, it's still a little tricky to beat the endgame bosses with. You kind of need some healing to supplement it and make it viable. Sorry, not valuable, viable. So hopefully we find some things that help us out with that if we manage to find Valkyrie Sword. While we're in this initial area known as entrance, it's worth talking about some of the early game routing in STS Rando. Basically, when you start off the game, it's similar to starting off the vanilla game, where the only things that are really available to you are the areas up until Craftwork. And Craftwork, if he drops his vanilla blue shard, which is called Craftwork as well, it'll just unlock the bridge that is or not the bridge, the gap where there used to be a bridge. It's a broken bridge, and that would allow you to have access to the Tower of Twin Dragons and Lever Ex Machina. However, if we manage to find something like double jump or high jump at the first white shard check, which I'll point out when we get there, then actually we'll have access to a lot more areas, and it'll allow for our route to be a lot more open. So depending on what we find in that white shard check, it'll determine where the seed will take us from there. I'm actually going to go back and farm that bone mort quickly. I don't think we have it shard right now. Nope. Yeah, that's one way to check whether you have the purple shard for an enemy that you haven't gotten yet, is by checking the archives menu for the particular shard. And it's helpful to know this because sometimes you'll kill the enemy and then leave the room before the shard actually arrives at you, and that'll cause you to actually not obtain the shard. However, it'll still show in the archives menu that the shard was produced, so you can check what shard was produced from that enemy even though you didn't obtain it. And then if it's something that you don't care about, then you can still just proceed onward.
That's nice.
It's like it's definitely a nice quality of life feature. So we got flamethrower from Bone Mort. Flamethrower's not too bad, honestly. Oh, Alcahest. Okay. That's a good drop to know. So Alcahest is very, very strong in randomizer because it allows you to dismantle any item into components or ingredients. And again, the recipes that are tied to the resulting item or gear are random. So you can get something really good from dismantling using the Alcahest. However, it requires a lot of Alcahest usually to dismantle something that's pretty strong. So we'll probably end up harming a little bit the enemy that dropped it. And I believe it was the Plume Parma that dropped it. Let's just give a quick check on that. Yeah, it's the Plume Parma. So we'll keep that in mind for later. The reason to come down to that stretch in general is to farm the high density of shard enemies that are down there for potential dimension shift. But it's not just dimension shift that we're looking for among the purple shards that we want in the game. There are plenty of purple shards that are also very strong combat options for taking down the endgame bosses. Those being Void Ray, Aqua Stream, and Bald Tyab. All of those are absolute top tiers in this game as far as combat, and even without having mana regen or like some kind of means of having more mana, those purple shards are very capable of getting past the endgame bosses. So if we manage to find one drop from an enemy, ooh, okay, not quite. We got Tornado Slicer, which is not what we're looking for, but it's still good info because we don't have to farm the Blood Grinder Knight later on. So yeah, we're gonna be killing those more of these kinds of enemies along the way to Craftwork, as mentioned before. But before we reach Craftwork, there's going to be a boss coming up known as Zangetsu. Ooh, Summon Hellhound is pretty good. Summon Hellhound is one of the better red shards for damage. However, the problem with it is that it costs way too much mana. You need a minimum of 200 mana, I believe, to be able to use it. And right now we have only 170. And even if you had enough mana to use it, it's not really like super efficient damage. It's just like a high amount of burst damage you could think of it as. And beyond that, it's something that we would have in our inventory as an option if we manage to find Jeebel's Glasses for infinite mana. Let me just take a quick look at... Okay, yeah, I have that on. So we're going to quickly do a farm of the Barbados here and see if it gives us a purple shard before we fight Zangetsu 1. And yes, I did say 1. But we never want to see 2. We never want to see Zangetsu 2. If the seed comes to that, then we're in huge trouble. But Zangetsu 1 is just a roadblock boss. It's not a boss that actually gives any progression. So it should be really simple to get through.
And for those that might not know, realize how much of a pain Zangetsu 2 is. Explain why we want to avoid Zangetsu 2.
Yeah, it's basically, it's not that the boss is hard per se, it's that the way to get to him is super out of the way. It's like one of the most out of the way spots in the whole map. And also, you have to have a lot of, well, you don't have to have a lot of progression abilities to get there, to be honest, but you do have to have like, you have to have checked a lot of other spots in order to make it like worth checking one of the most out of the way spots in the game. Because in the vanilla game, in order to get the Zangetsu 2, you need to have gotten the Aegis plate and I think, is it Aegis plate and Craftwork, something like that? And wait, oh, Dimension Shift, wow. Okay, that's huge. All right, well, I'm glad we don't have to worry about finding Dimension Shift later on. But yeah, I think you need Aegis plate and Craftwork for it, and then you might need some method of flight. And in the vanilla game, that's a substantial amount of progress necessary to be able to do that. So yeah, basically we don't want to ever see Zangetsu 2. And for those of you wondering what Zangetsu 2 would give, he gives, in the vanilla game, he's actually the one that gives you Zangetsu, which as I mentioned in the beginning, is one of the pieces of Go mode. But in STS Rando, it's very rare for Zangetsu 2 to have Zangetsu. You'll usually have found it well before that. So hopefully this is a case of that in this seed.
Yeah, as soon as I mentioned that, there's a lot of people in chat going, yeah, no Zangetsu 2, please.
Yeah.
Just no.
Indeed. But yeah, we do have dimension shifts, so I'm honestly pretty happy. Like, the next thing we're going to be looking for the remainder of the seed is, well, besides Zangetsu itself, we're going to be looking for just a means of getting through the endgame bosses smoothly. So again, Jeebel's glasses, or, you know, a good amount of healing, or a good amount of mana regen, something like that. So this is GDQ Cathedral. It took me a while to learn how to pronounce that. It's something like Irish. But anyway, here's where that white shard check is located. And white shards in this game are progression shards. So it's, again, things like double jump or deep sinker, which allows you to swim, or high jump. Oh, high jump. Okay. Well,
high jump, yep.
That is one of the best things to find there, actually. So we now have proper flight. We actually did have flight already with Dimension Shift. But when I say proper flight, I mean flight without having to rely on having enough mana. The problem with Dimension Shift is that it costs mana for every cast of it, and I can show it right now. It's just a teleport. And it turns out you need Dimension Shift in order to go through the exact last room, and that's the only reason you need Dimension Shift. Before I talk further about that, okay, we didn't find the safety invert here. This is one of the 2 safety checks that exist in SDS. Sometimes there will be a safety invert canister there, and it'll be red. That's how you know it's there. And when I say safety, it's supposed to be a measure that the game takes to avoid soft locks, but it doesn't always spawn when it needs to, so it doesn't end up doing its soft lock protection too well. Unfortunately, we didn't find it in the seed, but it's no big deal because we have high jump already and dimension shift. So, but if we did manage to find invert there, invert would be full flight, and it would also be it actually, interestingly enough, it also fulfills the conditions to be able to swim, because basically you go into the water and then you invert, which flips the whole screen around. And because your head will always, or like your body will always float towards like the surface, the game thinks the surface is like now the bottom of the water, and it'll basically allow you to go quote unquote under the water, which is unintended swimming, but we'll take it.
If it works, it works.
Exactly. So we're getting the warp here. I'm killing this ore dog as we reset these rooms because it is a purple shard enemy as well. But the next stop I'm going to be making before we go to Craftwork is on the way to the other safety check, which is the one for Zangetsu. Zangetsu can be placed in this safety check 2 rooms below. And again, I'm not exactly sure on the methodology behind it being placed, but it's just there sometimes. And if it ends up being there, it can save a whole lot of stress and trouble of having to traverse through where the actual spot of Zangetsu would normally be, which again, in a STS it's shuffled amongst other key item locations. So at the bottom of this room is where the safety check lies. Moment of truth. Ooh, okay, it's not there. If it were there, there would have been a third chest in this room. However, there were only 2 chests. It would have been in the middle right here. So instead we got Valkyrie Tiara, which is actually pretty good. This is a luck boosting item. And luck is really important in randomizer because it improves your item drop rate, which obviously matters for farming. So, all right, and we're going to be making our way to the first boss. I'm killing these gargoyles along the way as well because they're also purple shard enemies. I said first boss, third boss, but first progression boss, potentially.
It counts.
Yeah. So this is Craftwork. Very simple boss. We're going to be using short hops. And I actually haven't talked about short hops yet, or backdash canceling with combat. When you do attacks in the air in this game, and you land in the middle of the animation, it land cancels and allows for you to act again after you land. So that ends up being the fastest method of combat for a lot of weapons, is just to short hop with that weapon. And then backdash canceling in combat basically involves just doing the weapon attack and canceling to a backdash, canceling to the weapon attack again, potentially canceling in the jump, depending on if you have jump actions available still, and then going back into the weapon. Unfortunately, with the whip weapon class, it's not very straightforward to do the backdash canceling in combat, so I just end up doing the short hop instead, and it's much simpler and still gets the job done. So yeah, I'm going to farm the gargoyle here. I technically don't need to do this, but you know, I'm going to be thorough and see if I get lucky with a good purple shard here. But yeah, since we already have dimension shift, I wouldn't, strictly speaking, need to do this.
I saw a comment in chat, imagine finding super speed next.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, so Craftwork, I kind of glossed over, but Craftwork ended up dropping his vanilla shard, Craftwork, which is a grab, and it grabs objects that are grabbable. Oh, okay. Okay, that's awesome. We just found Aqua Stream, folks. This is our logical form of swimming. I say logical, I shouldn't really use that word because there's no logic in built-in randomizer, but basically this was what will allow us to be able to swim without having to do some weird stuff with invert. And really quickly before I talk more about that, got this cool little trick here where if you jump in that spot, you can go through that room. You normally would not be able to go through that at all. Yeah, it's really funny. Don't ask me why that works. It's just some funniness with the game's collision and stuff. But yeah, but Aquastream, the thing about Aquastream is that it's not just swim for us, but it's also a method of applying a bunch of DPS to enemies using a technique known as the crouch tech, basically. And if you repeatedly tap and release crouch as you're firing the Aquastream, I can show it right now, you'll get a lot more hitboxes than ordinarily. Like this is like the normal Aquastream, and it's like way more with the crouch tech. So that's something that we'll hopefully see for the late game bosses if that comes up. But yeah, Aquastream is very, very powerful. All right, so I'm gonna be farming this Barbados enemy, and normally I would have gone back to the village after, after getting Craftwork, but we have everything we need to be able to go, almost everything we need to go save Jeeble, which is the first task in completing the true ending for the game, and thus completing the randomizer seed. Our goal is to defeat all evil, I believe it's called. So in order to do so, you have to save Jeeble by striking the moon with Zangetsu. I don't know why I keep saving. Your goal is to strike the moon with Zangetsu when it turns red, and that way you save Jeeble. It's supposed to be a reference to Castlevania Symphony of the Night saving Richter. So once we find Zangetsu, we'll be able to do that. Reflector Ray. Okay, nice. We don't need that, but it would have been progression for us if we didn't already have flight with the high jump. So yeah, At the top of this room is another key item check, and it could contain Zangetsuto, or it could contain a means of. Okay, it's not Zangetsuto. What I was going to say though, it could have contained the means of accessing an area that would have allowed us to have more like potential checks, such as silver bromide, and even the backroom keys do this as well. In this case, we got crafting materials, which are good, but not really that important for us anymore, I would say. For how the seed has gone so far, I don't think we really need crafting materials. But again, because of the nature of the randomized results from crafting recipes, those crafting materials can be way better than anything that you'd get with the normal recipe in the vanilla game. Oops. So we're going up here to the secret room, which players call the attic. And there's a key item check here. So again, could contain Zangetsuto. If it doesn't contain Zangetsuto, we just have to go back. Let me actually save quickly before I die. But yeah, if it doesn't contain Zangetsuto, we'd have to go back to another area and look for key item checks in those areas. So let's see if we're lucky here. But yeah, this would be a pretty standard route to take if you're playing SCS Rando on your own. Okay, silver bromide. So not quite Zangetsuto, but again, unlocks another area if we wanted to go there. The thing about silver bromide, you have to go back to the town, and then you have to take a photo, which gives you an ID, and then you have to speak to an NPC known as Odie, who's located in the library, Liber Ex Machina, and he'll give you the pass plate, which allows you to take a ride on the train, and that takes you to Underground Sorcery Lab. So basically, it's a bunch of steps which function as a key. Also, I shouldn't be doing this habit. I don't have Zangetsuto yet, so let me not fight Jeeble. Alright, so we're just going back here. Checking the side quests. Again, could be accessories there for Jeeble's glasses. And let's check what we can craft. Ooh, Dine's Left. I love Dine's Left. It's a pretty good weapon. Red Beast Edge is good as well, but this is not the highest tier. This is like the tier 2 one, so not as much damage. We're gonna get Dine's Left instead.
Is there a specific weapon class that, like, just in casual play you prefer?
Oh, my favorite weapon class. You know, I thought
it's always a good sign when someone either starts, or so. I love it.
So many weapons in this game are so fun, so it's definitely hard to think. I haven't thought about this on my own. You know, when I was starting out, I liked the sword because it was quick and has a decent hitbox. But I think over time I've grown to enjoy the whip because it's just makes a really cool sound effect, and the hitbox is nice for hitting enemies that are at a diagonal angle to you. So yeah, I'd probably say the whip is my favorite weapon class. As far as favorite weapon though, I don't know if I can answer that one. There's so many cool weapons even among the whips. Probably the ice whip. Yeah, sorry.
Ooh, oh no, you finish your thought, please.
Yeah, maybe the ice whip is my favorite whip because it has a cool sound effect as well.
Yeah, there's a person in chat that in all caps just going guns, 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 guns.
You know, guns are cool, but you have to have so much in a rando context for them to be able to work properly. You need or not need, but you hope to have infinite ammo. You hope to have the highest damaging ammo type, and then you also hope to have the best gun weapon, which is the homing gun. And that ends up kind of being a little too much for most seeds in most situations. Also, let me take a trip back because there's one thing that's really important to do now before we proceed, which is dismantling. So I just want to take a quick look at what we can do with that. Okay. None of this stands out for now, but potentially these can be useful, so I'll keep them in mind, and then we'll come back if we end up finding anything else that can be useful. It kind of all depends on the items that we gather, because right now we only have so many items that we can dismantle, so they'll only produce the the recipes that we saw in the crafting shop there. But yeah, our next stop is going to be Tower Twin Dragons. That's one of the closest places that we can go to now that offers us a key item check. In order to get there, we have to go across the broken bridge. And again, normally in the vanilla game, you need craft work to do so. But since we already have flight, we don't need to do that. We can just go across the normal way. There will be a few concepts I'll be leveraging for farming purple shards, even though we already have dimension shift, because again, we're still looking for something that will help us for the endgame bosses beyond what we presently have. It's the idea of deferring a farm until you have either higher luck available, like, or, you know, a means of more efficiently farming that enemy, or just doing the farm right away as soon as you see it in order to get the potential drop sooner than your opponents that would defer it. These concepts are mostly relevant for racing. I don't think they're too important for like playing rando on your own casually, but it's something that it's like two differing philosophies that players adopt based on their playstyle. Like, you know, whether they're more aggressive with trying to find progression in the seed, or whether they want to play it safer and just do the efficient farm when it becomes available. And we're going to see an example of that right now, because I think we don't have the toad still. Yeah. We're going to be farming the toad in a spot that's one room over. Not this room, but the room over to the bottom right. We could have farmed it earlier in the room that where the bridge, or the broken bridge, was. But farming it there is a little bit of a pain because resetting the room takes a long time. Whereas if you farm the toads here, you can reset them really quickly, but you don't have the spot available until after you have a means of getting across the bridge. So it's kind of a risk you take. Do you farm the toads as soon as you have them available, but risk taking a long time because of the inefficient farm spot? Or do you farm them in a better spot, but only available once you have some progression abilities? Those in the chat, what do you think of these two? Are you Gamba fans, or are you people that would prefer to play safe?
Like, knowing my luck in randos, I'd probably stick with the safe one, because otherwise I'd probably be grinding the other spot for hours.
Yeah, depending on what ooh, I forgot to equip this. Depending on what equipment you have as well, sometimes that will influence players' decisions. So if they have like higher luck boosting equipment, then they'll decide, okay, I'll just do the farm in the efficient spot because my luck boost will improve it even better.
Ooh, he says, let's see here, got a always Gamba, if I'm racing Gamba, Bamba fans, let it ride, deferring Toad. I like the, I see I grind for 100%.
I like these philosophies, guys. I think all of you will become excellent Bloodstained Ritual of the Night randomizer racers.
I think the majority is they're going for the Gamba.
Very natural. Embrace the Gamba. So we're gonna farm one more enemy down here, and again, I don't strictly speaking need to farm, but it's just nice to be able to find some purple shards. We already have Aqua Stream, which again, that would suffice for the end game, but anything like Void Ray or Fall Tyab would also help a lot. And if we don't manage to get the purple shard from this enemy, I'm not too bummed about it. We can probably press onward since we know exactly the spot we want to go to next already. So one thing, a lot of randomizer players... Oh, Void Ray. Oh, excellent. Oh, love to see it. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, one thing a lot of randomizer players also kind of discuss amongst themselves is whether you... So there's some situations where you might need to go all the way down into this area known as Forbidden Underground Waterway to the Hidden Desert in order to find the white shard progression location that'll give you like double jump or high jump. Basically the one that allows you to unlock more of the game. And that's like the nightmare situation because Hidden Desert is super far out of the way, similar to where Zangetsu is located, but instead, of course, for white shards. The thing is, sometimes you'll find equipment such as Kung Fu shoes that allows you to potentially go across the broken bridge gap without necessarily having a progression ability that would normally allow you to get across. But the problem with that is that you won't oftentimes be able to get across in like maybe enough tries, or maybe you don't have enough mana, because Kung Fu shoes using Kung Fu shoes to get across the broken bridge gap requires a little bit of mana investment per attempt. So if you're not comfortable with doing that as a sequence break, then the alternative being Hidden Desert is a nightmare situation. So some randomizer players are a lot bolder than I am. They'll go for something like that, but me personally, I'll go to Hidden Desert if I really, really have to. Thankfully in the sea, we don't have to go there. We already have things that will help us.
Now remind me that the people in the portraits and that one specific cat early on, those were people that paid for the Kickstarter campaign?
You know,
I'm confused.
I think that's the case. I'm actually not 100% sure myself though. Like I heard something like that before, but as far as I know, it's something like maybe the Kickstarter backers chose the portrait that's in the room.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. The backer rooms actually have like, I think designs that were also chosen by the Kickstarter backers. So if we ever, okay, I don't think we really need to go to a backer room in the seed, but if we do manage to go inside a backer room, I guess we can be able to see it. Yeah, so this is the Tower of Twin Dragons. If any of you are familiar with Clock Tower, this is basically the Clock Tower of the game. Clock Tower being like the stereotypical worst area of the game in every Castlevania game. It's not as bad, honestly, in this game, but if we didn't have like again flight basically, then it would be a lot worse. Also, I might not have gone to the accessory check. Okay, when we get to the elevator that's above us, I'll probably go down there to do the accessory check. Because again, if we find Jeebel's glasses, that would help tremendously. Solves combat by itself. Although again, we already have Void Ray, so even if we don't find Jeebel's glasses, like we're gonna be fine. Another thing about Tower of Twin Dragons is that if your only form of flight is Dimension Shift, you actually might not be able to get through Tower of Twin Dragons, because as far as I understand, or maybe not completely, as far as I understand, Tower of Twin Dragons, the 3D rooms where there's like the rotating like corridors with the gears and stuff that we were in, those rooms you cannot use Dimension Shift in them at all. It's just like I guess like a safety measure that the devs programmed in the game. I'm not exactly sure why though. I feel like it's completely fine. Like nothing bad could go wrong.
I feel anytime someone says that, I'm finding an X button to press for doubts.
Yeah. No, your instincts are correct there. You know, there's plenty of just like odd bugs in this game that just happen from playing normally. So honestly, it's understandable that they would implement such a safety measure. We're gonna be coming up on the next boss. But before that, here's a cute little secret. There's a weapon chest check here. It can't be Zangetsu, sadly. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It can't be Zangetsu, sadly, but it can be Valkyrie Sword. Which, you know, Valkyrie Sword's pretty cool, so worth checking. All right, here's the next boss. This is what the area is so named after. The Twin Dragons. Valak. This is basically just an auto-scroller boss. After you've dealt enough damage to the boss, you have to wait out basically a cutscene for them to make it down the tower. So we will do exactly that. We're gonna brush the dragon's teeth a little bit. Shoutouts to Bobby. And I think we've dealt enough damage, so we're just gonna sit here and wait.
That was a very efficient teeth cleaning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The dragons are very glad. fact,
Yeah, you
they're
can
still
tell how happy.
it's like a dog, like panting in happiness. Mouth opening and closing. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Dineslev, why I like it so much. Dineslev is a dark type weapon, and it so happens that the final two bosses, Dominique and Bale, are both weak to dark. So that, along with Void Ray, will be excellent options for the final two bosses. Okay, just a couple hits. Oh, okay. They're being a little rowdy. I think I might have missed like maybe a couple hits for them to finish up. So that's why they're still attacking. But after these last attacks, then we should see them crumble into purple shard. It's funny, like the way their death animation is super funny. Is they literally just crumble into purple shards. All right, there it is.
Well done.
Yeah. So normally it's faster to get grabbed there, but I just want to get straight to the gold chest without. Oh, okay, nice, nice. There we go. All right, we got Zangetsu. We're good now. We can go ahead and close off the seed. And I realize now I have not put on armor. Let's just put on some armor. So yeah, we've got go mode. So we're gonna be going straight to the final approach from here. But before we go to Den of Behemoths, which is the final approach, we have to go and save Jeeble. And we're gonna do any last minute tasks that we did not finish off here. Which includes doing one more shop trip. Okay, nothing new in the shop.
As I suspected, it was Alfred's doing.
And you'll notice how we actually didn't go to most of the areas in the game. If any of you have played this game before, that'll be very evident. Yeah, it turns out in a randomizer, you don't often, or an SDS at least, you don't often visit every single area. You only really go to the areas that you exactly want to find, like either a key item or progression ability. So that's what tends to happen with these seeds, but it's perfectly okay. All right, so we've got ether, we got healing. This should definitely be enough. Worst case scenario, actually, for that matter, I'm gonna make one trip to Lever Ex Machina and see if I can get one more movement ability after we save Jeeble, of course. Because if we find something like Invert, that would help tremendously for fighting Bale specifically, because we actually have Voskia as one of our shards. And for those of you that don't know, Voskia is a red shard that summons 3 icicles. And the icicles fall down according to gravity after you apply the spell. But if you invert, gravity's flipped around basically. So the icicles will fall the other way. And you can have, by doing this, you can have them like basically stay suspended in the air if you keep inverting over and over, and they'll still apply their damage because the icicles don't go away until they hit the ground. So it's a really cool technique for Bale specifically, because Bale has a super large set of hitboxes for being compatible with that. Ow. So here's Jeeble. All we have to do here is not get grabbed by that. And we have to hit him enough times, and then the moon will turn red. And when the moon turns red, we just strike the moon with Zangetsu, and it removes like the illusion he's being controlled by, basically. Again, very Soten stuff there. Okay, there it is. Should be transforming now.
Ah.
And we strike the moon. So Jeeble is saved, and performing this opens up the area where we open up the Den of Behemoths, which is the second to last area of the game. And for all intents and purposes, Den of Behemoths is just like a like an intermediate area. We don't actually have anything that we need to do there other than just basically waltz through it. Since we have Dimension Shift, we can skip one of the bosses that you'd normally be required to fight when you go into Den of Behemoths. And it turns out that boss actually does drop a purple shard as well. So it's pretty interesting. So there will be some seeds where you go to Den of Behemoths and you still don't have dimension shift, so you might find yourself having to fight that boss. And once again, those situations are very undesirable. So, yep, as mentioned before, I'm making a quick trip to the library just to get the book. One of the books that the librarian gives is called the Deadeye Tome, and it improves our damage dealt with purple shards, which is probably going to be our main form of damage for this final stretch. So I do want to make sure I can get all the damage I can possibly get, even with a little bit of a detour. And I also mentioned like the additional positive of being able to get invert from the boss that you'd normally get double jump from in the vanilla game. He's known as Andreolphus. This boss is a bit of an annoyance for like the proper speedrun of this game. But for randomizer, as long as you've got pretty much any competent combat option, then you can deal with him pretty quickly without him wasting time with some of his annoying attacks. Ordinarily, you'd go to Libra Ex Machina much sooner. Here's an accessory check. Ordinarily, you go to Libra Ex Machina much sooner, but sometimes if you just want to go straight to where you know there's probably going to be progression, which in this case was the Tower of Twin Dragons with Zangetsu, then you'd probably want to make that trip happen later. So that's what we chose to do here. Mm-hmm. There's also an enemy here that is very noteworthy because that's a blue shard enemy, and I think one of the chatters mentioned before regarding Craftwork is that blue shard enemies have the chance to drop Accelerator, which is basically this game's Panther equivalent. It allows you to zoom, like really zoom. If you think backdash canceling is cool, Accelerator is like the proper like fast movement option in the game. Although it's again not available in every seed readily, so unfortunately we haven't gotten it on the 2 kills that we did on that enemy, so I'm just going to leave it behind. And here's a save room just before Andreolphus. Let me put on Dyne's Lift again. And right after we fight this boss, just to see what it gives us, we will go straight to the end of the game. Okay, it's actually acting pretty kind so far. It's not jumping in the air like it normally likes to do.
I'm not gonna lie, the first time I fought this boss, I looked at him like, and I cannot unsee, it's the front half of Arceus for the Pokemon fan.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's actually true. Wait. Now I myself cannot unsee that. So.
Right?
Man.
Chad, I'm not sorry.
All right, we got invert, which is nice. So yeah, again, that will help for the final bosses. Although what will help even more is getting some mana refill. So I'm gonna grab that right now. And we got some healing as well. So yeah, from here, we're just gonna make our way towards the, oops, that happens sometimes. Yeah, that's invert. That's what invert looks like, folks. It can be a little dizzying, so apologies in advance. Hopefully we won't have to activate it too often. I'll be probably favoring the high jump where I can, but yeah. All right, so we're gonna teleport to the center once again. Make our way towards the final stretch. And I think we do have enough damage output, especially for Dominique. For Bale, we might have to rely a little bit on the healing that we bought, but otherwise should be mostly okay since we have great damage options available. One of the limiting factors about fighting the in-game bosses is just how much damage output you have access to, because if the fight goes on too long, especially for Bale, too many cycles of his attacks can happen, and depending on your movement options, you might have to wait out the attacks longer before you can apply more damage to him, which gives you more opportunities to get hit. So ideally we we would deal with Bale quickly with the options that we have right now. And I'm going to make one last check here towards the right for Jeeple's glasses. Again, this is an accessory check before we make our way towards the final bosses. So this is Den of Behemoths. As you can see, every enemy is humongous. There's a giant frog there. Even the rooms are giant. So traversing through them takes a bit, but it's honestly not too bad.
I love it.
The chests are big. The bats are going to be big too when we come across them. The dragons are big. It's like a fantasy land within a fantasy land. Fever dream type stuff. The music is actually pretty cool in this area. I found myself growing more of an affinity to it over time.
Yeah.
The first time I heard it, I thought it was like, it's a little too self-aware of music, but no, I think it's perfect. All right, so we're gonna be inverting for just that key item check, just in case. And there's our giant bat. Because I have spike breastplate on, I'm dealing contact damage to enemies as I come across them. So that's why we saw that bat getting pushed away out a little bit. The giant dragon is underneath me, and sometimes it jumps like that, so it's pretty funny. All right. So just a couple more rooms before we encounter that boss that I was mentioning that we don't have to fight, thanks to the fact that we have dimension shift already. And you'll probably see me like sliding off these ledges. Strictly speaking, I do this just because it looks cool. Technically, it does actually save time as well, but it doesn't save that much time.
More importantly, it looks cool.
Exactly, yeah. So
swag strats exist for a reason, and that is the reason.
Yeah, we definitely take the swag points. Here's the boss. We're just gonna skip it by using dimension shift here. So it's pretty nice that that's available. Saves us a little bit of time. And there's yet another purple shard boss, technically, in the next area called Glacial Tomb. But again, we don't need to fight that boss because we already have dimension shift. In fact, in the vanilla game, you'd fight that boss for dimension shift. But again, we don't need to fight it. Oh my goodness, that bad. That's sometimes the problem with having a spike breastplate on, is that the bats like act super weirdly. So they'll get caught in your contact damage, and then they'll like drift in the same direction as you're moving, and you'll just like, yeah, they'll just keep getting in your way over and over. So this is Glacial Tomb. Completely frozen area. Pretty spooky when you think about it. Just doing some blue chest checks. Again, blue chest in this area can have additional healing, but we haven't found those from these, so nothing of use. And then another chance at Jeeple's glasses, maybe. Ooh. Oh, okay. Actually, this is the Jeeple's glasses one right here. Oh, okay. Nah. Yeah, the other one was the armor chest, but the one on the left, the breakable wall, was the Jeeple's glasses potentially. Was not there this time, but that's perfectly fine. All right, so again, we'll have to manage our resources carefully, but I think we have sufficient resources to be fine. So all that's left is the final room where we have to use dimension shift, and again, this exact room is the only reason we need dimension shift to beat the game.
Dimension shift. Dimension shift. Dimension shift.
All right, nice. And we'll put on that void ray. We also have in our inventory summon insect. This can apply poison to Dominique, and for that matter, any humanoid enemy or boss. So we've seen that in action here, and here we go. Here's the first among the final two of the boss gauntlet. Oops. Okay, there we go. That actually worked out. It was so funny.
Nice.
She actually went away from my insect, but then came back to it. So we take those. This is not the great pattern. Okay, we're good now. Actually, I'm going to use Void Ray just to hide her. And something that is possible to do with the laser weapons is you tap the magic button and it will cause the damage to be dealt without having to incur all of the mana cost that you normally incur by holding down the directional sharp button. So it's really nice because it allows you to kind of skip the cooldown that you normally have to endure when it comes to the damage cooldown the damage cooldown that you have to incur when it comes to these kinds of weapons. Okay, I'm gonna heal up just a little more. Let's see. Just a little more and she'll be dead. I'll finish it off with some backdash cancel attacks. And something I haven't mentioned about Dominique yet, because she hasn't done it that much in this fight, surprisingly, is the famous elbow attack. We killed her before she managed to do it again. But that elbow is basically instant, not reactable. You have to just basically play around it the whole time. So any sort of weird movement you see me doing is in order to avoid getting instant hit by that elbow. She can only do it in phase 2, so yeah. So yeah, now we're on to Bale. Excuse me. Let me refill my MP before we start. And my HP. And Bale has 3 separate parts to it, but the only part that takes real damage is the one that Dominique is currently on, which is the frog here. So we actually got good RNG. The frog is the one we want to see. The reason for this, sorry, this boss is kind of weird. The reason we want to see frog is frog has the easiest patterns to dodge, and also is kind of the easiest one to damage while it's doing its attacks. So yeah, and as we can see, Void Ray just allows us to just steal damage pretty much from wherever we want. Actually, I should show a little bit of the Voskia tech while we're in this fight. It's pretty cool. Basically, if it doesn't hit the ground, which unfortunately it did there, then you can have the Voskia like keep on hitting the boss over and over before it touches the ground. It's pretty sick. Let me heal up. And this attack's no problem to dodge. Not just because we have invert, but also it's frog, so it tends to be easier to dodge. So yeah, now we're just hoping not for cat. Unfortunately, you can't get the same animal twice in a row, so we know for sure we won't get frog again until after the next pattern. But if we kill it in a 2 cycle, that won't matter, thankfully. Okay, nice. We got demon. So demon is a bit tricky, but not as much as cat, so we should be fine here. Let me just get my mana back up. And time will be coming up upon the boss health bar, or I said health bar, boss being defeated. No health bars here. Not in an Igarashi game.
I was about to say, did I miss something?
Yeah. No health bar, unfortunately. You just got to keep doing the damage until it's dead. Oh. Let's heal up. Out of mana. Get my mana back up. Okay, gotta be careful about this attack. That attack does a bunch of damage if you get hit by it. Alright. We couldn't get a 2 cycle, but it should be close to dying, so just 1 more cycle to go. And we can only get frog or cat on this next cycle, so hopefully we get frog. Again, we're not dealing any damage to it right now. Okay, we got cat. That's okay. Oh, okay. Well, it just one hit to die anyway. That's time.
GG's.
Wow, unfortunate that it was only one hit from the 2 cycle.
Cat was just like, I just want to get in one. That's it.
Yeah. Got one more left in me. So yeah, this was Bloodstained Ritual of the Night SDS randomizer, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, this seed, honestly, we had pretty good stuff available to us, but I played extremely safe because we normally have much more healing available. Either that or we have Jeeble's classes, but we didn't find either one in this seed, so I wanted to play it safe. But yeah, 57-21, not a bad time. Still under the express lane hour, so I'm relieved about that.
It's still an absolutely amazing showcase of skill. Like, it was awesome to watch.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, yeah, K-Drive, now is your time. Give your shout outs. What are you playing? Where can they find you? Any shout outs to anybody else you want? The floor is 100% yours.
Yeah. So definitely shout outs to the Bloodstained Ritual of the Night randomizer community. The folks over there have been of tremendous help for teaching people how to play the game and giving them help wherever they need. I actually only first played this game in 2025, and after watching back on some old tournament footage that I had watched when I was first getting into Castlevania games in 2023, I watched back on the 2023 Bloodstained randomizer tournament, and I learned so much from that. So big thanks to everyone that is involved in that community. Special thanks, of course, to Fran, Tony Ortiz, Jupiter Climb, and everyone else that plays randomizers on stream. And then also want to give a big shout out to everyone in the Afterimage community, which is my main speed game. They've been a tremendous support for me throughout my speedrunning journey. So I want to, make sure to shout out them. And then if you're interested in anything else that I do personally, I do speedruns, blind playthroughs, randomizers, everything on YouTube. And you can find all that on youtube.com/GDQ. Usually, if I'm doing a new speedrun, it's going to be for a Metroidvania. But these days, I've also been mixing it in with some blind playthroughs of various indie games. So if that's something that interests you, definitely feel free to check it out. But yeah, that's all I've got. Asuka, thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, of course. And honestly, to be in the community for that short of time to show this level of skills is stunning. So GG's, like across the board. But everybody give GG's K-Drive just for a little bit longer. And I want to give you all a quick goal.